Okay, so this is like a little disclaimer because I'm going to be having outfit changes and background changes throughout the video because I did this on 2 separate days in school and I couldn't find the same room. Okay. So this one, I am in a really sketchy hallway and people are probably going to walk by and think I'm crazy. But yeah, and then the other one I'm in the classroom. So hopefully the majority of this video will be from the classroom. Okay. Bye. Okay, so this is another disclaimer because the sketchy hallway was not working. There was people walking by. They thought it was crazy for talking to myself into the camera. So I left, and now I'm in that really, nice hallway into the new mods. Hopefully, no freshmen come and think I'm being a stalker or anything. But okay, yeah, let's get started. Hello. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about how society, um, is discriminative towards people, back then and still a little bit today, of people of different race and color and ethnicity. But mostly in this case, using Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye as my evidence, mostly towards like eye color, skin color, just kind of like being different from everybody else. And I'm going to be focusing on the main character. Her name is Piccola Breedlove. And as I go into this video more, you'll learn more about her. And this book is set in the 1940s, since it's kind of like, after freedom of slaves, but it's kind of like society trying to, or like people who are black trying to get people to accept them for who they are, and they're not still slaves, they're not disgusting, they're not what everybody thinks they are, or, well, not everybody, but most people think they are during that time. And so my thesis, I'm saying, using multiple cases of repetition about discriminative beauty in society, Toni Morrison shows the disturbing truth about trying to escape the inevitability of reality, which is significant because trying to change certain elements of oneself to become beautiful proves to be destructive socially and mentally. So going in a little bit more depth about that, so you're kind of like, what's this reality you're talking about, inevitability of reality? So the inevitability of reality is realizing that you can't change certain things about yourself. Like, Michael Jackson, he was black, he looked white by the end. Like, he's still black. You can't change it. Everyone knows he's black. It's kind of like trying to change something that you really can't change. And like, yes, I can change. I can do this, Like if someone has brown eyes, like, I will have blue eyes. Like, yeah, you can get contacts, but you still have brown eyes underneath. Like, you're still that person. For my first point, I'm going to be talking about how people who think that if they become what society views as beautiful, they think that all their problems and imperfections are going to go away. And a really good example of this would be Piccola Breedlove, who is the main character of the book. She's not the one telling the story, she's not the narrator, but she's what the narrator is talking about. So at this part of the book, she is walking towards this candy shop where she wants to go buy some candies, and she's like thinking about all the trouble she has at home with her family, and how she feels like if she has blue eyes and is considered beautiful by everybody else's standards, that she won't be discriminated at school, and that problems at home will, deteriorate, because she thinks that like people with blue eyes will have a better life. So let me find the quote. Okay. So I quote on page 46. If those eyes of hers were different, that is to say beautiful, she herself would be different. Her teeth were good, and at least her nose was not big and flat like those who were thought so cute. If she were different, beautiful, maybe Charlie would be different, and Miss Breedlove too. Maybe they'd say, why, look at pretty-eyed Piccola. We mustn't do bad things in front of those pretty eyes. And which kind of goes to show how, like, she views that, like, as I said before, that if she had blue eyes, she will be treated better by everybody. Because, like, she talked earlier about how kids make fun of her at school, and she thinks that if she is able to look different, quote unquote prettier or more beautiful, that everybody will treat her the same as, people who aren't black or have dark eyes. um, and she thinks that because the media always talks about how if you are this type of person, this is what your life's going to be like, throwing ball with your dad or, cooking with your mom while, lying out in the sun other days and, all these things, and which in reality isn't true, but Piccola is only like 10 or 11 or around that age. So kids are pretty impressionable back then, and the media and society and people around young kids can make them believe this, which is really sad because she should accept who she is, but she just, she just thinks this way because her life is really hard because her parents fight all the time, and Charlie, who's her father, by the way, is just this mean, drunk, hits and all these things, and ends up doing really bad things towards the end of the book, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, she feels like if she has blue eyes, which is, kind of like one of the main characteristics of being white, which is considered beautiful, that all her problems will go away. Okay, for my second point, I want to talk more about like the repetition of discriminative, you know, occurrences that are happening in the book, because that's part of what I'm trying to say, like how discriminative beauty, kind of breaks down the person that it's aimed towards, and how they feel like if they are beautiful, they will become more accepted, which in reality, when you try to strive for such a really hard goal, it can really break you as a person, like trying to achieve something like many people try to achieve and many fail, only few would like succeed in life, and how like it can really, separate you from like who you are, and like just this strive and desire to be accepted by everyone. So for my quote, it's Piccola again because she's the person I'm talking about, and she's at the candy store now. This is right after my first quote, and this is like how she's talking about how white people don't like her because of her blackness. So it says, it has an edge. Somewhere in the bottom lid is the distaste. She has seen it lurking in the eyes of all white people. So, the distaste must be for her blackness. All things in her are flukes and anticipation, but her blackness is static and dread. And it is the blackness that accounts for, that creates the vacuumed edge with distaste in the white eyes. So, this quote's kind of talking about how the store manager, she's trying to buy the candy, and like she can tell by the way that he's looking at her that he just does not want her there, but he's not going to turn her away because it's business. But it's just, she feels the hate. She feels all these, all the eyes looking at her, the blue eyes, and she feels that it's her fault that like people don't like her. Like, it's not her fault. It's just people are prejudiced, which most kids don't really understand as a kid. They think, oh, it's just me. It's me. It's because I'm like this. It's because my hair is curly. It's because I have brown eyes. It's because I have a weird sounding voice or a weird laugh or, crooked nose or something. And it's kind of like, it talks about, it kind of goes deeper into how people view beauty. Like, she talked about earlier how her nose wasn't big and how it was kind of like a good nose, but like it kind of doesn't account for like what everybody else views. Like, they don't go to the nitty-gritty details. They look at you just kind of like on the surface, like what you look like, which is kind of how Piccola thinks people view of her. Like, she knows that, like, they're just looking at her, like, her skin color. And so this is kind of like another reason why she wants to be viewed as, pretty, because she doesn't want to be treated like this way in public, or she just wants all these problems to go away, because it's really hard when like nobody likes you. So that quote kind of relates to how there's repetition of how society are discriminating towards other people who aren't exactly like them, or like the norm of, this is a smart person, this is somebody who's, gonna make it in life, someone who's not dirty, or, anything like that. And kind of like people's reaction towards it when she's outside, and kind of like feels all of this, this shame towards of how, oh, he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. She says, anger is better. There's a sense of being in anger, a reality and presence, and awareness of worth. It is a lovely surging. So she feels like she's not worth anything, which is really sad. Like, it really like breaks my heart that people are like this, and like this was something that went on like every day. I know this book is not like based on like a real person, but like the ideas are still present, or were present and are still present. Probably more present like face to face with each other. They might be like behind her back, but more face to face back in like when this book was, set like in the 1940s, like early 1900s, not like early 1900s, kind of like mid early, you know what I mean. And it kind of shows how it really hurts, and this anger kind of drives her, and this wanting to be, like stand my ground. This is where I am. I am a person, she's not like out there, but she's like has this secret desire to be, have a place in her world, because it is her world. It's not just the white people's world, it's her world too. And she just feels like this anger comes from not having the opportunity to show people who she is, because she's smart, she has brains. It's just she's never given the chance to actually show it. So my last point I want to bring up is the mental toll that it has on someone when they want something really bad, like trying to be accepted, like kind of trying to achieve something that has to be accepted by everybody else before, you can actually make a change. In this case, like society accepting you, like you can't make society accept you, like in the way that Piccola wanted. Like she was like, oh my god, if I have blue eyes and, I'm pretty, I will, be able to be liked by people and my life will get better, which is a really, it's a sweet idea, but it's unrealistic because it's not possible. Especially back then, like colored contacts didn't exist, and they came from a poor family, so they wouldn't have been able to afford them if they were even around. So towards the end of the book, and I'm skipping forward, because I'm focusing mostly on Piccola's state of mind and kind of her thought process, how it's declined rapidly because she's not able to achieve exactly what she wanted. Like she's become really sad. Like she visited this priest man, kinda. He's kind of a priest, kind of not. He's a fake priest, but he said that he would give her blue eyes, and she just kind of goes insane. Like after he makes her kill a dog, but she didn't know she was gonna kill a dog, and she said and he said to her you will have blue eyes after you have given this dog this food, which is really disturbing. So she kind of starts talking to herself, she hears a voice inside of her head, which is not a good sign. You can tell she's starting to go insane when she's talking to somebody in her head. But as I said earlier, this book isn't the narrator of this book is Piccola. It is this girl named Claudia who knew her. So this is the aftermath. This is like years after everything happened, and it's years after her father raped her. Her father raped her, and people became pregnant, and all this like, oh, I want to be beautiful, but I'm pregnant. People won't look at me the same, and people are just, being pitiful of me, but not in the right way. They're like, oh, this girl. Oh. So this is kind of like Claudia's view of what happened after, like, the baby died. The baby, like, didn't make it. We saw her sometimes, Frida and I, after the baby came too soon and died. After the gossip and the slow wagging of heads, she was so sad to see. Grown people looking away, children, those who were not frightened by her, laughed outright. The damage done was total. She spent her days, her trendril, sap green days, walking up and down, her head jerking to the beat of a drummer so distant only she could hear. Elbows bent, hands on shoulders, she flailed her arms like a bird in an internal, grotesquely futile effort to fly, beating the air, a winged but grounded bird, intent on the blue void it could not reach, could not even see, but which filled the valleys of the mind. So she's kind of become withdrawn, and she's having all these emotional issues because of how she thought that, this would work if I went to this guy and he gave me blue eyes. She's young, she's still impressionable. She thinks this man will help her. Like, when she talks to herself, she feels like she has blue eyes, and she asks herself, oh, am I prettier than this girl? Am I prettier than this person? And the person's like, yeah. But, like, she still has a little bit of doubt in her mind. And then, like, her father starts, doing really gross things. Like, I'm not even going to discuss them. That's just how gross they are. And then it's just like years after, and she feels trapped because, many rape victims feel like even after the damage is done and the person's gone, because Charlie dies. It's not like he died in a workhouse. Like it was like one sentence of the book, but like it's still damaging. It still makes you feel trapped because you feel used and you have no confidence, and you just want to, like how she talks about a winged but grounded bird. Like, she wants to fly away, but she can't because, well, we don't really know why, but I'm just assuming it's because of her, how shameful she feels, and like how people are just not really understanding of the situation, because like people are just shaking their heads. They're like, oh, yeah, that family, the breed loves, and it makes sense. The guy, like the dad's, a really dirty person, and oh, like that was like really, I don't even know how to put in the words, but just like there really are no words for people who do that type of thing. But so that's kind of like what happens to her in the end, and it's really sad because she started out with all this hope, like, oh my god, I really want, through my life, I've wanted to do this, like I wanted to be accepted, like, and she thinks that she can because she's like, because she sees this guy who's like done miracles or whatever, but he's touched children too. It's really gross. I'm not getting into it because that's not the focus of this video. It's about repetition of discriminative society. I can't say that word. Don't laugh at me. Of discriminative, beauty in society, and how trying to achieve it can really take a mental toll and kind of make you like can make you destroy yourself in the end because you're trying to achieve something that you really can't achieve unless everyone else around you realizes that their views are wrong or that their views hurt people in the way that, like, it's really hard to explain, but it's just like how, like, there's the mental mind, it has an idea that it wants, it's unachievable, it collapses in on itself in a way, because like certain things. It's like, yeah, I want a puppy. Oh, I don't have money for a puppy. My parents want me to get a puppy. No puppy. You're sad for like a little while, but this is like constant reminder. People always looking at you. People always judging you. People always calling you names or doing things to you. And it's just not cool. And I'm glad we've come at least a little bit. We've made progress towards not being so harsh on people for things they can't, control and like that are not real issues. So yes, that is the end of this point, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so jumping back to the mod haul, in conclusion, like all these examples really show how if you try to, be something else, something that you're not, and trying to um, be someone else or change yourself, it can really leave people renderless. Like they're just kind of lost, or like they lost because it was such a deep strive that once they figure out that they can't have it, or like they've achieved part of it but not all of it, it just kind of like, what do I do now? Like it can really make people insane, as it did with Piccola, because she's like withdrawn and kind of like out there and kind of schizophrenic, and people are not, they're not feeling bad for her, they're feeling bad for the situation and not really helping her in any way. And she grew up and she had a really kind of sad life, going through dumpsters and for who knows what. I don't even want to know what she was going for. But like, this kind of shows how you try to change yourself for others. Like, it can really backfire. You really need to be accepting of yourself. And this text kind of, bringing it to the outside world, it kind of connects to the tragedy, and it kind of gets into the deep nitty gritty, like how it can really affect someone on the outside and on the inside, which most people only see one or the other. And it's kind of eye-opening in a way, because like I know this is like a fictional story, but the ideas are real, and like the emotions are real. So it's kind of eye-opening, like I said, because you realize, wow, these people went through all this. This is insane. Like I feel so bad. So, and this is my video. This is the end. The end, yeah. Bye. And also another point is these people felt this way because they kept seeing discrimination over and over and over again in the media and when they were outside, and like happened every day, and it just kind of controlled them, kind of took over their minds and like their desires. So yeah, this is the end of my video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!